poor souls locked into it. Bedouin Maiden was a prized possession and stood in a palace of honor in its throne room, often with a screaming victim inside it. Political rivals suspected assassination, treacherous ministers. The maiden consumed them all, but as time passed, more people were given to the maiden for increasingly trivial offences: the cook for over-salting the king's food, the page boy for dropping his sword. The maiden cast a pall over the kingdom, and its people prayed for deliverance from their cruel king. Then one day, the strange woman rode into the city. She called herself Ember, and was an emissary of the far land. Her leaders had heard, she said, of Bedouin's wisdom and authority, and she sought the king's counsel. The thought that he had earned the alteration of brother kings across the sea made Bedouin swell with pride, and he granted Ember an audience. They dined and danced through all the Embers flattered and fawned on the king. At the end of the night, Ember was asked to see the maiden, the infamous device that had given Bedouin all of his power. The king giddy with praise proudly presented Ember with the empty contraption. Ember looked at the maiden and sighed, and with disappointment she said, "That doesn't look at all terrifying at all. I should have imagined the spikes would have been much sharper." Bedouin grew red at her comment and replied, "The spikes are sharp enough. Look at the blood that still clings to them." "But it's so small," Ember said. "They're only children and women, its victims." Bedouin grew redder still and replied, "Of course not. The maidens have found many men." Ember shook her head and said to the king, "I don't believe it. Surely no warrior could fear this thing. A man like yourself, tall, muscled, would not fit within." The king laughed and saw the word to prove the merit of the maiden of Ember. "I'll show you how easily a man like myself could fit," he said. With that, he stepped into the device, but Ember was waiting, and no sooner as Bedouin squeezed himself into the iron casket that Ember slammed it shut on him. Ember took the maiden with him, screaming in Bedouin inside, through the castle, down into the city, and its people, finally free from the king's tyranny, cheered and danced to the singing that echoed through the streets until Bedouin was dead, and it finally stopped. A tale often told in the Singer Maiden Tavern. What a lovely story!
Blessings upon you, Herald of Mondrasty. Walk safely, Herald of Mondrasty. Good luck. Chancellor Roderick says that the Chantry wants nothing to do with this.
A chant for the departed. The light shall lead her safely through the paths of this world and into the next. For she who trusts in the Maker, fire is her water. The moth sees light and goes towards flame. She should see fire and go towards light. The veil holds no uncertainty for her, and she will know no fear of death, for the Maker shall be her beacon, her shield, her foundation, and her sword. Transfigurations 10.1, often sung by mountains as they light candles, mourners as they light mountains. How the mountain can sing? Well, unless it's the band Mountain. Hunting bows and stuff. The Fate. The study of the Fate is as old as humankind. For so long as men have dreamed, we would have walked its twisted paths, sometimes catching a glimpse of the city at its heart, always as close as our own thoughts, but impossibly separated from our world. Divinity Imperium once spent vast fortunes of gold, lyrium, and human slaves in an effort to map the terrain of the Fade, an ultimate failure endeavour, although portions of it belong to powerful spirits. All of the Fade is constant flux. The Imperium succeeded in finding the desperate and ever-shifting realms of half a dozen demons lords, as well as cataloguing a few hundred types of spirits before they were forced to abandon their project. The relationship of dreamers to the Fade is complex, even when entering the Fade through the use of lyrium. Mortals are not able to control or affect it. The spirits who dwell there, however, can, and as the Chantry teaches us, the great flaw of the spirits is that they never imagined nor ambitioned. They create what they see through their sleeping visitors, building elaborate copies of our cities, people, and events, which, like the reflection in a mirror, ultimately lack a content all of life of their own. Even the most powerful demons merely patronize the worst thoughts and fears of mortals, and build their realms with no other ambition than the taste of life. From Tranquil and the Role of the Fade in Human Culture by First Enchanter Joseph. Founding of the Chantry. Cordelius Dracon, king of the city-state of Olay, was a man of uncommon ambition in the year 15 Ancient. The young king began construction of a great temple dedicated to the Maker, and declared that its completion he would not only to unite the wandering city-state of the south, he would brought interesting belief to the world. In 3 Ancient, the temple was complete. There in its heart, Dracon knelt before the eternal flame of Andraste, and was crowned ruler of the Empire of Olay. His first out as emperor declared the Chantry as the established Andrastian religion of the Empire. It took 3 years and several hundred votes before Olay and Montesmond was elected to lead the new Chantry. Upon her coronation as divine, she took the name Justinia in honor of the disciple who recorded Andraste songs. In that moment, the ancient era ended and the divine age began. From Thrills in Folklore and History by Sister Pentrine Chantry Scholar. Chantry heresy. The divine is the true titular head of Chantry, although since the schism split the Imperial Chantry into its own faction, there are now, in fact, 2 divines at any one time. One divine informally called the White Divine, as the woman housed in the Grand Cathedral in Val Royale. The other is known as the Black Divine, a man housed in the Ancient Spree in Binethros. Neither divine recognized the existence of the other, and informal names are considered sacrilegious. No matter the gender, a divine is addressed as most holy or your perfection. Beneath the rank of the divine is Grand Cleric. Each Grand Cleric presides over numerous chantries and represents the highest religious authority for their region. They travel to Val Royale when the College of Clerics converts, but otherwise remain here where they're aligned. All Grand Clerics are addressed as Your Grace. Beneath the Grand Clerics is the Mother, or in the Imperial Chantry, the Father. If her mother is in charge of a particular chantry, hold on, I've lost what it was. Revered is appended to her title. These are the responsibilities for assuring to the spiritual well-being of their flock. A mother is revered, mothered, and is addressed as your reverence. Brothers and sisters from the rank and file of the chantry consider three main groups: affirmed, initiate, and clerics. Affirmed are the lay brethren of the chantry, those regular folk who have turned to the chantry for succor. Often they are people who have led a difficult or irreligious life and have chosen to go into seculars or even orphans and similar unfortunates. They were raised into the chantry life and the reformed take care of the chantry and are turned afford life of quiet complexion. No questions are asked. Those only those who flock folk who take their vows become initiates. These are men and women in training, wherever the academic knowledge or martial skills of a warrior or ignorance receive an academic education. Although only those who seek to become the Templars learn how to fight in abdication. Clerics are the true academics of the chantry, those men and women who have declared themselves to the pursuit of knowledge. They were often found in chantries' archives, sages presiding over libraries of books and arcane knowledge. The most senior of the clerics placed in charge of such archives are given the title Elder, although such a rank is still beneath that of a mother. Although brothers and sisters are addressed simply as nothing more as their titles, before their name is such as brother, Genevieve T. A guide to ambassadors and from Rivian. Let's go armor medium. Can't unlock these doors because I've got no lockpicking skills. Can't open that. Can't open that. Delete that. Brilliant staff. Probably have to wait till I get Sarah to unlock those doors. Because I don't think Varric can do that. Even though he's a rogue and he can lockpick, but still. Let's hand these in.
We can use that.
The children of Andraste. There are many misconceptions regarding Andraste's bloodline. Monsters, this is due. I should think to a general lack of knowledge regarding Andraste's mortal life. Understandable considering the many cults that arose following her death. Everyone sought to claim Our Lady for their own. Culture or claim some aspect of her existence was a lie. All of them complete fabrications. My order has done considerable research into ascertaining the truth. I can't walk.
Chain her! I want her prepared for travel to the capital for trial.
Disregard that and leave us.
You walk a dangerous line, Seeker.
The breach is stable, but it is still a threat. I will not ignore it.
Biomic controller's not working. That's working.